Hello guys, welcome to the Zeph Academy. Today I am going to discuss with you about the topic finding the roots of the quadratic equations. Okay, so basically there are three ways in which we can find out the roots of the equations. I'll just list them out here. Like one of them is by factorization method. The next one is by completing the square method. And the third one is the formula oriented by using the quadratic formula. Okay, so these are the three ways in which you can easily find out the roots of the quadratic equations. Okay, so we will take one example here to understand each and every method to find out the roots of the equation. I'm just writing down the example here. Example is x square minus 3x minus 10 is equal to 0. Now this is the question given to you and you have to find out the roots of the equation. So let's adopt the first method, that is by factorization method. We'll write down here that we'll be solving it by factoring method or factorization method. So ideally what we will do here is that we will try to identify the coefficients of the first term and the last term. Okay, so the coefficient of the first term is 1 and the coefficient of the last term is 10. Sorry, last term is 10. Actually it's minus 10, but here we'll be taking 10 and we'll try to make its factors such that we get this middle term properly. So let's say that the factors of 1 are 1 cross 1 and the factors of 10 are 5 times 2. Now we have to use these numbers to get our middle term, that is 3x. Okay, so I think so if we attempt taking the numbers like 5 with 1 and 2 with 1, we can easily get our required number, but let's see how the signs will be placed. So let's say that we took this number 5 here. I am writing down this thing here. 5 into 1 is 5 and 2 into 1 is 2. Okay. Now here the thing becomes very important and critical, that you have to assign the proper signs to your number. So actually the sign which is there with the middle term should go to the bigger number, and as here 3x is carrying a negative sign, that negative sign will be given to this 5, so 5 becomes negative. And now this is a deciding factor here, the sign carried by the last term. In case it's a minus sign, then we have to go with the sign which is exactly opposite to the sign assigned to the bigger number here. So the bigger number is having a minus sign here. So let's give it this number a positive sign. So this is a very important factor which you should consider and do not forget, or else you can be in a trouble. So minus 5 plus 2 will be giving you minus 3, and that's what we need here. So I think so we can go ahead with the numbers minus 5 and 2 to split our middle term. So I will write down the equation now as x square minus 5x plus 2x minus 10 is equal to 0. You can now make their pairs by applying the brackets, so it becomes easier. Okay, so I think I can take out x as a common term from the first bracket, so I am left with x minus 5 and in the second bracket I can take out 2 as a common number, so I'm left with once again x minus 5. That seems that I'm going in the right direction. If the brackets are coming same, it is a kind of sign that you are in the right direction and you are not doing it wrong. So this can be further written as like this, that x minus 5 and other bracket is x plus 2 is equal to 0, which leads you to the solution that x minus 5 will be equal to 0 and x plus 2 will be equal to 0. Now we will be solving these things separately. That let's go with this x minus 5 is equal to 0 first. So this is basically what x is equal to 5. Similarly, now if we solve for x plus 2 is equal to 0, it will be giving you the value of x is equal to minus 2. So the roots of your equation are 5 and minus 2. Minus 2, sorry. So this is how we can get the roots of the equations by using the factorization method as I discussed here. Okay, let's park our method here, and now let's attempt doing method number 2, that is by the method of completing the square. Okay, so once again I'm writing my equation here, which is x square minus 3x minus 10 is equal to 0. Now, for the method of completing the square, all you need to know is that your equation should be able to be written in the form of a plus or minus b whole square, the identity which we have done so far. Okay, that means you should be able to write down your above equation in this form. So you have to create, or you have to modify it in that similar manner. Now, how we are going to do it? Let's see that thing in detail. So first of all, I will focus on my first term, and my first term here is x squared. Now this is very important thing, that in case your first term is not the perfect square, you should try to make it a perfect square, but that is not the case here. X square is a perfect square because the root of the x square is plus or minus x. So I think so our work is easier. So now let's go with the last term. That last term in this case is minus 10, which does not happen to be a perfect square. So what I will do is that I will be finding my true last term for this equation, and that can be found out by using the formula that middle term square divided by 4 times first term. Okay, and that is equal to, middle term in this case is 9x square divided by 4 times first term. So 4x square, which is equal to what? 9 divided by 4. So this should be your true last term for this equation. So let's write our equation again. X square minus 3x. This time I will be putting the newly found last term in this place, but I should not forget my minus 10 as well. Okay, and to balance the entire equation, I will have to once again do the summation of this 9 by 4 on the right hand side of the equation as well. Okay, so this is how it can be written. Now I will just put the bracket for you guys to understand this thing in a more clear way, that we have almost reached the target of writing down our equation in the form of a plus or minus b whole square. And I will even try and shift this 10 on the right hand side, which will give me somewhat like this result. Okay, let's shift it a bit down. Okay, so now as you can see here, that your first term is the perfect square, your middle term is the combination of 2 times the first term and the last term roots, which is 3 by 2. Okay, as you can see here is that it is giving you 3x. In case you cancel out this number 2 here, it will give you 3x. That means Now you can be able to write this equation in the form of a plus or minus b whole square. Let's put the bracket is equal to, now this 10 plus 9 by 4 will be equal to 49 divided by 4. Okay, so the next step involves representing our entire bracket as first term minus, because the middle term is minus here, last term 3 divided by 2 whole square. I hope you guys know why I wrote down the first and the last term as the roots and not the numbers itself from the identity a plus b whole square. Let me just write down that as well for you to recall the thing, that it is basically like this. If your given equation or expression is a square plus 2ab plus b square, you can write it down as a plus b whole square. That's what I did here. It is just that my middle term is negative, so my sign of the second term stays negative here, is equal to 49 divided by 4. Okay, so we have reached this part. Now all we have to do is find the value of x. So we will be applying the square root here to make it a bit simple. Applying the square root, and to balance it we have to apply it on both the sides. On both the sides. So what will happen, you will be able to get somewhat like this result. X minus 3 divided by 2 is equal to, again square root here, and write down your number 49 by 4 like this. Okay, so just shift this thing further. Okay, so now this square root will be eliminated like this because the square sign is available here, so it will be eliminated, and this number 49 by 4 can be written outside the square root sign as plus or minus. The root of 49 is 7 and the root of 4 is 2, like this, plus or minus. Okay, now there is a cases here. Case 1, when your equation x minus 3 by 2 is equal to positive 7 by 2, and case number 2 here can be when your given equation x minus 3 by 2 is equal to negative 7 by 2. So we'll solve the cases separately. So x in the case 1 will be equal to 7 by 2 plus 3 by 2, sorry, 7 by 2 plus 3 by 2, which will be equal to 10 by 2, and which will be equal to 5. Similarly, solve for case number 2 here, that x is equal to minus 7 by 2 plus 3 by 2, which will be equal to minus 7 plus 3 is equal to minus 4 by 2, which will be equal to minus 2. So once again, we can write down here the roots of equation is x, which is equal to 5 and minus 2. As you can see here, we have got the similar answers for the different methods, which means that you can arrive at the same solution using the different methods. So this is how completing the square method is done. And now the last method, which is about by using the quadratic formula. So I'll just shift my work somewhat here and here. Okay, now I think so this identity is not needed, so let's erase it. Okay, and now let's arrive at the third case where we have to find out the roots of the equation using the quadratic formula. Okay, now quadratic formula is, first of all I write down that the roots of the equation are given by minus b plus or minus square root b square minus 4ac. The entire thing is divided by 2a. Okay, this is the quadratic formula, and on by using this formula you will be able to find out the roots of the equation directly. Now what are these terminologies here, a, b and c? Let's figure it out. So we know that our quadratic equation general form is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So let's compare our equation with this general form. X square minus 3x minus 10 is equal to 0, which will lead us to the values of a, b and c. As we can see here, a is nothing but the coefficient of the first term, which is equal to 1. Then b is nothing but the coefficient of the second term, which is equal to minus 3. And the value of c is equal to the third term coefficient, which is minus 10. Okay, so now I will be first of all finding out my answer, b square minus 4ac, to ease out writing down the above formula. So let's find out b square minus 4ac first. B square is equal to minus 3. Minus 3 square is equal to 9 minus 4 times a and c. A is 1 and c is minus 10. So it will be giving you 9 plus 40, which is equal to 49. Okay. So b square minus 4ac is equal to 49. Now I'll just put this value in the above equation, sorry, above formula. Okay. And as you can see here, there is a plus or minus sign. So we will have to wait a minute. There is a problem here. I think so. We haven't notified this formula properly. This 2a will be over the entire formula here. So let us modify this thing. Minus b plus or minus square root b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. It should be like this. Okay. So now taking the case 1, in which we will be taking the positive sign into consideration. So let's write down the formula as minus b plus square root b square minus 4ac, b square minus 4ac divided by 2a, which will be equal to, your minus b is your minus 3, so it will be becoming positive 3, and b square minus 4ac is 49. So the root of b square minus 4ac will be equal to 7. So write down here 7 directly, and divided by 2a, it will be equal to 2, which will be equal to 3 plus 7, that is 10. 10 by 2 is equal to 5. So one of the roots of your equation is 5. Similarly, solve the same for case 2 by taking this time the negative sign into consideration. So we will be doing that thing. Case 2 is, do not forget to write down the formula here, because the more times you practice writing the formula, it will be easier for you to memorize, and chances of forgetting the formulas will be less. 2e, like this, which will be equal to 3 minus 7 in this case, and that is divided by 2, which will be once again equal to what? 3 minus 7 is minus 4 by 2, which is equal to minus 2. So we can say that again the roots of the equation is x equals to 5 and or minus 2. So the this these were the ways by which we are able to find out the roots of the equation by factoring method, which is pretty simple, by completing the square, which is a bit lengthy but not that much difficult, and by using the quadratic formula, that is the direct formula you apply, input the values and get your answer. Okay guys, so this was it for today. We'll be meeting again next time with the new topics. Till then, stay tuned.